The ice is getting thin in Chicago, and I'm not talking about the winter coming. There's a tackle who just had the worst performance across the entire offensive line against the Saints. And now that future with the Bears is hanging by a thread. But that's not all. While one player is fighting to hold onto a starting spot, another has been waiting weeks for a chance to return from injured reserve. And their window to come back is about to slam shut for good. And if that wasn't enough, our star receiver who's been breaking records in just a second year has gone quiet for 2 straight weeks, right when we need that production the most. 3 explosive storylines that are shaping the immediate future of this team, and trust me, you won't want to miss a single detail. Stick around till the end, because we're breaking down each one of these situations that have the whole city of Chicago buzzing. Look, I'm gonna be straight with you right from the start. Theo Benedette just had the worst game of their career as the Chicago Bears left tackle. And they admitted it themselves after that win over New Orleans. When a player comes out and says they didn't play their best, that they probably didn't play winning football, you already know things are serious. Here's the deal. Ben Johnson didn't plug Benedette into that spot for average performances. When he benched Braxton Jones, it was because the standard wasn't being met. And now, after what we saw Sunday, we've got to ask ourselves if Benedette really is the answer at left tackle. Numbers don't lie, folks. Pro Football Focus graded Benedette at 43.2, the lowest offensive grade on the entire team in that game. 43.2. Let that sink in. And yeah, technically, they didn't allow a sack. But Chase Young worked them over way more than anyone wants to admit. What's most concerning isn't just the stats. It's the false starts, the mental mistakes, the penalties. Benedette had a couple of false starts that killed drives. They did some solid run blocking, sure, but in pass protection, Chase Young owned them in clutch moments. Now the million-dollar question, does Braxton Jones get his job back? Ben Johnson basically left the door wide open on Monday when he said if someone isn't pulling their weight, a decision's gotta be made. Coming from the head coach, that's not just talk. That's a warning. You think Johnson's gonna have infinite patience? I don't. This is a head coach who came to Chicago to win now, not develop long-term projects at critical positions. And left tackle, especially when protecting Caleb Williams' blind side, is as critical as it gets. I get it, Chase Young's no joke. The guy's elite when he's healthy. But here's reality, if Benedette can't handle elite edge rushers, then they can't be the starting left tackle, period. Because we've got more monsters coming up on the schedule. The Braxton Jones situation doesn't make it easier. Jones only graded worse than Benedette once this season, and that was the Raiders game, when he was benched. So what do? Go back to Jones and hope he's learned his lesson? Or roll with Benedette and pray for improvement? My guess, Johnson gives Benedette one more shot against Baltimore. But if we see another showing like Sunday's, especially against that Ravens defensive front, changes are coming quick. This team can't afford inconsistency at left tackle in the middle of a 4-game win streak. And here's the thing that really worries me, confidence. When a left tackle starts doubting themselves, jumping early out of anxiety, stacking mental errors, that's a downward spiral. And I've seen plenty of promising linemen never climb back out. Benedette's got the frame, has the fundamentals. What they need now is mental toughness, the ability to bounce back after mistakes. In the NFL, especially in Chicago, where the spotlight burns hot, you can't afford a couple of bad snaps that derail an entire drive. The big question we're all asking is, can Benedette recover and prove they deserve that left tackle job? I want to believe so. I want to believe this was a one-off. But in this league, especially under Ben Johnson, chances are limited. And if you thought Benedette's situation was messy, buckle up. Austin Booker, our second-year edge rusher, who led the entire NFL in preseason sacks, with 4 in just 2 games, has been eligible to return from injured reserve for 2 weeks now, and still hasn't been activated. Let that sink in again. A player who led the league in preseason sacks is fully healthy according to every report, and has been practicing full speed since their 21-day window on October 7th. Still stuck on the sideline. How does that make sense for a team desperate to generate pressure with a 4-man rush? This team's defensive ends have produced only 5.5 sacks total all season. Keeping Booker inactive just doesn't add up no matter which way you look at it. Ben Johnson defended the move Monday, saying they felt totally fine with the guys active. Totally fine. But how can you feel totally fine when your front line isn't getting it done? Here's the real issue. Booker's activation window closes after the Baltimore game. If he's not activated this week, that's it. Season over. He'd lose an entire year over a knee issue that didn't even need surgery. To me, something else is going on behind the curtain. Dennis Allen's defensive scheme favors heavier defensive ends, guys around 180 pounds. Who can set the edge? Booker 6'6" to 45. He's lean, fast, explosive. So is he a scheme casualty here? Or are they downplaying concerns about the knee? Because if he's good to go, he needs to be on that field. No excuses. Let's talk numbers again. 12 team sacks total. 5.5 from the defensive ends. Dayo Odeyingbo has 1 sack and 5 pressures through 6 games. Dominique Robinson sitting at 1.5 sacks and 3 pressures. That's just not playoff caliber production, and everybody knows it. Booker brings raw speed that no other edge on the roster does. He can bend the corner, explode on that first step, collapse the pocket from the outside. That's gold for a defense that desperately needs pressure from the front for now. Activating him means cutting someone from the 53-man roster. That's rough. Drop Daniel Hardy and you lose a core special teamer. Drop Dominique Robinson and you lose a vet who's finally showing consistency in year 4. But keeping Booker inactive last week was a mistake. Doing it again this week would be an even bigger one. You can't waste an entire developmental year of a second round. Pick who flashed serious potential this summer. What really bugs me is hearing Johnson say Booker is progressing well, and I think he'll be able to help us. Future tense. The window's closing, coach. So when exactly is will be able supposed to happen? Same deal for Amen Ogbongbemiga at linebacker. His clock's ticking too. They started DeMarco Jackson at strong side last week because of Noah Sewell's injury. And Jackson made a tackle and broke up a pass in just 14 snaps. So where does Ogbongbemiga fit when he's cleared? These roster calls are what separate good teams from great ones. Great teams make room for their playmakers. Good ones get lost in roster politics. I think Booker gets the call this week. Has to. Because if not, the message to the locker room is clear. Politics matter more than performance. And that's not a message a 4-game win streak team should be sending. Now here's where it gets wild, something that's not getting nearly enough attention. Rome Odunze's having a breakout season, but just went through to straight quiet weeks right when we need the fireworks. Let's start with the good stuff, because Odunze's earned that. Leads the team in catches with 24 and yards with 359, and tied for second in the league with 5 receiving touchdowns. 5 scores in 7 games. Average depth of target, 13.76 yards, top 10 in the league. Those are WR1 numbers, no question. DJ Moore put it best: it was like watching Simba ready to roar. And man, did he roar those first few weeks. But here's the cold truth. These last 2 games, almost invisible. To catches for 32 yards against Washington, to for 31 against New Orleans. Those aren't WR1 numbers. Those are WR3 numbers. So what changed? Because it's not a coincidence that the drop-off came when defenses started keying in on him. Against the Saints, Odunze had 6 targets in the first half. No, how many in the second? 0 zip. And what's worse, there were 3 plays inside the final 2 minutes of the half where Caleb Williams scrambled and missed Odunze by inches. Even Ben Johnson admitted Odunze could have pulled in 1 or 2. But that Williams also needed better ball placement. So whose fault is it? Odunze not finishing route strong? Williams missing throws? Or the scheme not creating enough free looks for a top-tier receiver? Honestly, it's all 3. That's the problem when you've got a kid this talented. The 9th overall pick. The guy who led all college receivers while carrying Washington to the national title game. You just can't let someone like that disappear for 2 weeks straight. Odunze gets it. Said himself, there are plays he wants back, that he's hungry for more. That's exactly what you want from your WR1. But hunger doesn't mean much if the ball never finds your hands. And get this. He had a touchdown wiped out against Washington thanks to an illegal formation penalty. If that score counts, he's sitting at 6 touchdowns in 7 games. And we're not even having this conversation. But here we are. Coach Johnson said it comes in waves, that things will swing back. He'll get hot again, end up with 10 targets and a couple scores in a game. I want to believe that. I really do. But we can't just wait around for waves. We're riding a 4-game streak, heading into Baltimore, and everyone has to be sharp. No disappearing acts now. The Williams-Odunze chemistry has been one of the bright spots this year. Williams keeps using one word when he talks about Odunze: belief. He believed Odunze would win that route on the 27-yard TD versus the Raiders. Believed they could improvise on the 35-yarder against Dallas when Diggs slipped. That belief, that telepathic connection, it's what separates good offenses from great ones. And we've got it. We just need to see it show up in big moments, consistently. My gut says O'Dunn's explodes this week against Baltimore. I can feel it. After 2 weeks of frustration, starving for touches, knowing defenses are doubling down on coverage, he's coming out swinging. And when he does, this offense levels up, but he can't do it alone. Williams has to find him. Johnson needs to scheme him open. And the O-line, including Benedette on that left side, better protect long enough for those plays to develop. Kevin Byard said it best, he's a walking 1,000-yard receiver in any offense. That's the bar. And with 359 yards through 7 games, O'Dunn's right on pace. But it's time to get back to that early season groove. So, let's recap. A left tackle on the bubble, an edge rusher stuck in IR purgatory, and a star receiver looking to find their rhythm again. 3 storylines that'll define where the Chicago Bears go from here. What do you think? Does Benedette deserve another shot at left tackle, or is it time to bring back Braxton Jones? Should Austin Booker be activated right now, or is there something valid behind the team's caution? And can Williams and O'Dunn's get that spark back before it's too late? Those answers are coming fast, because Baltimore won't cut us any slack on Sunday. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Are you backing Johnson's calls? Think Booker should already be suiting up? Still got faith in O'Dunn's? Let's hear it down below, because this community, this family bleeds Navy and Orange together. And hey, if you're not subscribed yet, what are you doing? This is the spot for every move, every game, every headline that matters about the Chicago Bears all season long. Smash that subscribe button, hit the bell, and join the best Bears family on the internet. Because I promise you tomorrow we've got more hot stories, more deep analysis, and more straight truth about your team. Chicago's just heating up. Bear down, family. See you in the next video.